One. Okay, welcome to another session on the National Legal Summit 2.0 2023. I'm hosting it live from Lagodhyog Bharati, that is in New Delhi. I'm going to just mute the speakers for a while before we, go on to their introductions. It is a pretty illustrious list of people that we have here. And I'd lay down certain ground rules, especially, I would not want any of you to interrupt the speaker when they're speaking. And this is for all the people who have joined in. And I think Dr. Lokesh Pandey, your mic is on. If you could just mute it. And I'll have no option but to remove the participant who's joined in and is cross speaking because it's pretty disrespectful to the speakers. But Dr. Lokesh Pandey himself is going to be a panelist, I think. So that's going to be pretty interesting. And let's start. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. And we are all geared up. And so, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow enthusiasts of the ever advancing realm of technology, I stand before you today to discuss a topic that seems almost mythical, a force that is reshaping the very landscape of our existence: artificial intelligence. Now, let's not be overly starstruck by AI's enchanting allure. I mean, like any other great work of art, it demands a guiding hand, right? A responsible one. AI must be wielded with the wisdom of Michelangelo, who sculpted his masterpieces with precision and care, right? We must remain vigilant, ensuring AI serves humanity's greater good and not become the harbinger of unintended consequences. Like, one would have it that artificial intelligence is a good servant but a dangerous master. Artificial intelligence is like the elusive brainchild of human ingenuity, and it's come a long way since its inception, right? It's like a chameleon that continuously adapts and evolves, making it hard for us to keep with its shape shifting abilities. AI has transcended from being a mere concept in science fiction to becoming a tangible reality that now permeate our daily lives, from our smartphones to our industries and even our homes. Now, you may wonder, what is artificial intelligence? Well, let me tell you. AI is like the Shakespeare of technology. It has infinite potential and can craft stories of its own. But instead of using words, it speaks the languages of algorithms and data, giving birth to innovative solutions that even the most imaginative human minds could not have dreamed of. And who better to address the situation on AI, whether it's medical, legal, or economical, than these lists of panelists that we have? So, my co host, Ananya Mohindra, will be introducing the co panelists. And before we just jump into that, we'd like to thank Nayaro and all the other media houses who are covering the event. And Nayaro is a clothing brand which sponsored us. So, it is necessary sort of to mention the sponsors always. And that's the way to go about it. We'll put in the link in description. You can go check them out. We talked about them in the first panel session. Ananya, if you could please introduce our key speakers for today. Thank you.
A very good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all here. I'll be introducing all the panelists. First, I'll be starting with the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Anand Srivastav himself. He's the chairman and chief scientific officer, Dr. Srivastav. He also serves as the co-founder of California-based Global Institute of Stem Cell, GeoStar. So has held several research programs and has an extensive research experience in the field of stem cell, which is documented by more than 100 publications in revered scientific journals and conferences. Dr. Srivastava's expertise and scientific achievements were recognized by many scientific awards, fellowships, and by two consecutive awards of highly prestigious and internationally recognized JISTEC Award from Science and Technology Agency of the Government of Japan, Excellent Presentation Award in the Meeting of Clinical Chemistry and Medicine, Kyoto, Japan, USA, Congressional Recognition Awards from USA Congressmen. He's also leading a project with Japanese company Midtech to develop the organs using AI technology for organ transplant. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. Next, I'll be introducing Miss Aarti Khosla.
Okay, Aranya, before you go on to the next introduction, like we introduced, okay, the bio, even though it was obviously available publicly, I'd just like to say that we have had close to 200 plus inquiries about GeoStar, and this man, the myth, the legend, that is all added by us, and we are very happy that you've joined us here, sir. I know it's extremely opposite to your timings, but Aranya, thank you for that introduction. If you could move on.
Also, so since you mentioned that we have received quite a lot of queries about GeoStar, I would just like to mention a few words about what is GeoStar. So Geostar is in process of opening institution of regenerative medicine and stem cell research and treatment hospitals worldwide in many different countries, including US, India, China, Thailand, Dubai, Philippines, Brazil, Sweden, and the list goes on. Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, has inaugurated Geostar's state-of-art world's first dedicated stem cell treatment hospital in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Geostar is in process of opening 5 more hospitals just in India and in the next 3 years. Geostar, under the leadership of Mr. Anand, is in charge of developing stem cell transplant program for 4 different state governments in India, with total population of approx 155 million.
Right. If you're thinking if we used AI to like sort of draft it, we did.
We did.
And we've definitely used AI wherever necessary. So yeah, it forms an important part of our questioning method also today. We can move on to our next speaker, Anmay.
Yeah, so next I'll be introducing Miss Aarti Khosla. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor and excitement that I introduce her. She's a distinct professional recognized as the founder and CEO of COAE International, a renowned organization specializing in standard based management systems, primarily for educational and financial institutions, government, and non-profit sectors. With an impressive international experience spanning over 22 years, Ms. Aarti Khosla has trained and supported numerous business leaders and organizations from 30 different countries. It's a pleasure to have you on board, ma'am. Next in line, we have Mr. Nitin Kapoor. Nitin Kapoor is an IIT graduate in the year 1994 after gaining valuable experience at a he was an employee of Infosys from 1994 to 2007.
Right.
He embarked on a remarkable entrepreneurial journey and became a trusted mentor and consultant for numerous individuals and organizations.
Absolutely.
With an extensive expertise in project management, Mr. Nitin has trained over 2,500 medium and senior level managers. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Next, I'll be introducing Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar. It is with great pleasure that I introduce him today. He's the chairman and CEO of EST Global, an enterprise based in the MIT ecosystem at the Cambridge Innovation Center, USA. Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar has dedicated his career to transforming the financial ecosystem through cutting edge digital innovation and fintech solutions. His impact platform, EST Global, aims to drive fundamental change and radical transformation in the financial sector. That's all from my side. Let's hear from our speakers next.
Yeah, all right. So we'll just have opening statements from everyone, and we'll move on from one speaker to another in a round robin format, like we did for the first panel. And every speaker can have their opening remarks between 2 to 5 minutes. We'll start with you, Dr. Anand, and after which we'll go on in a question format, posing questions about artificial intelligence and navigating the way through its medical, socio-economic, and legal implications. Dr. Anand, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Nishan. It's wonderful talking with you and meeting a lot of good people here. I'm surprised to meet such a wonderful people, and particularly I'm sure that a lot of young friends must be watching this, and I'm always excited when I'm talking with young friends because they are the real intelligent people, not just AI. And so that is most important, to have the real intelligence. AI is just the transformation of the real intelligence, and so this is wonderful. And all thanks goes to you, Nishank, for organizing this at such a young time, and this is such a young age, basically. And I'm surprised to see the beauty of Indian young students who are doing extraordinary things here. So I'll not take much time because you told that I have to speak just 2 to 5 minutes initially, and then I want to open this session with the AI. And in the brief, I always try to connect every single thing. And of course, the modern science, which we are talking here, is AI. And most of the people are thinking, yes, it's very modern. Of course, it is modern, but everything has a base, the foundation. Nothing just comes out from air, okay? So if we go, and fortunately, we born in India, and everybody is much aware about our culture, our methodological, and I will say our scientific stories back to the age. And if I see the AI, there are a lot of examples I have, but just for you guys' knowledge, and you know already that Pushpak Viman was there. What is the AI bus? Okay, the important is that when you can respond automatically around to your surroundings, okay, that's the intelligence. And when AI is as I told, is another form of intelligence that is not real biological intelligence, but it is the data is fed in a computer or whatever way, and then that particular entity can respond to the environment. That's what the AI. So there is a very thin line of the difference between automated system and artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, when automation with the response towards the environment. So whatever the environment, it can reply or it can answer those environment. That's what it is, AI. And when I was talking with Pushpak Viman, okay, it not only automatically or automated system, but also responds to the environment, how to carry out all these things. And then after that, all this, so many examples in Mahabharata and all these things. Those all are very best examples of the AI. And so that is the foundation. So that gives you the idea that something may exist like that, which a machine can exist like that, which can respond to your environment. And because you are talking to judicial system, so there are a lot of uses of AI, which we will be talking more once we will advance in our talk. So that's the difference between AI and biological system. Biological system is more complex. You don't need to feed. It depends entirely on a person's own experience, the intelligence of a biological system or natural AI. So natural AI takes or gather the experience of the environment and reacts accordingly. And then it goes up to the molecular level, like each cell has the AI, each organ has its own AI, and then entire human being has its own AI. Each animal has its own intelligence system, not AI, but intelligence system. So that's the difference between biological and artificial intelligence. And of course, we will be talking about judicial and use of AI in judicial system once we'll advance. So I give the floor to other experts who wants to give initial comments on the AI.
Right. Sir, I have a ton of questions for you, and I will shoot it off once you're done with the opening statements, respectively. But thank you so much for that speech. It is that opening remark. It is really wonderful. Although you give me credit to organize this, I don't think firstly it's anywhere possible without the kind of experts that have come in here, whether it's you or Nitin sir, Aarti ma'am, and Pratik. Even Pratik Bhaiya is here, and Pratik sir, I would rather call him, is just he's more family oriented. Dr. Mishra, Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, and everyone. And but more importantly, and especially my co-host here, who's done such a wonderful introduction of all the panelists. So I mean, it needs a team to pull something like this off. But thank you so much for your kind words. We'll move on to the next speaker. That is Mr. Nitin Kapoor. And before that, just a second, Ananya, do you want to say anything else, or should we move on?
No. I think I left one of the speakers. I haven't mentioned their introduction. I'll be introducing them once we finish with the
All right, all right. No, I think
speech of
it's
Mr. Nitin Kapoor.
yeah, I think it's Mr. Prateek only. So
Yeah. I'll
yeah.
just introduce him after we finish with the speech of Mr.
Please
Nitin
don't
Kapoor.
mind.
It's
I
not
mean,
disturbing.
it's good to hear you. Please carry on. Don't
All right,
break
all
the
right,
flow. Yeah.
all right, all right, all right. All right, Nitin
Hi.
sir, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nishant and Ananya. So happy to be here. So I'll, my short introduction has already been given. Just to, what I'll be saying, I just was writing it down maybe in 3 steps. The first thing is starting at Infosys. I remember what Mr. Murthy used to say, that, in God we trust, but everyone else brings data. So coming from a very data focused organization, so that was, I think, a famous quote by Deming. And being a very data focused, so everything had to be shown, and there was, a constant attempt that there should not be a hierarchy in terms of who is right. Whoever brings the data and proves it is, their views will have to flourish, right? And so that is where organizations like Infosys, I keep talking about it, but I would assume TCS or similar organizations, all of them, they were very data focused, and that is why they were successful, and that is why they were able to scale. So when I joined, we were less than 1,000 people. By the time I left, there were almost 200,000, and today there are 3,500 people. So that's one of the largest, and that is why they are able to do it, is because they are very, very, very data focused. So it's a journey from there, and even there, when we talk about the capability maturity model, the level 5 model is about predicting and building on what Dr. Anand said, that you have to be able to take data and be able to predict what is going to happen. And I guess that is where these models are becoming more and more sophisticated. And at certain point, you start calling them artificial intelligence. At the end of the day, it is data in and data out. The second part of my career, I did a lot of training, which I also do, of a lot of project managers in middle and senior level capacity. And again, sometimes it was disheartening to see their lack of focus on data, and they themselves not being able to predict how many defects are going to be there in the product that they're going to be shipping out, and yet trying to build something for the for the customer. So that data focus, the world, we cannot escape from focusing on data, because there is so much data is being generated.
Absolutely.
Coming to the third part is that Ananya, you missed that part. Last 3, 4, 5 years, I've been focused on my own journey on fintech, and I have been building my own data models, and went back into programming on the Python and building my own predictable model, especially trying to make money off the stock market, which is not going to be easy, right? Because and that is where you have to understand how the world is moving. And in the understanding of AI, there are going to be some zero-sum games. If I can gain, it can only be by, at the expense of somebody else, right? While on the other side, there are going to be gains which are going to be, singularly to humanity. We will become better, right? So and therein lies, I guess, a lot of this legal thing will also come in terms
Right.
of when these models become so sophisticated that it is difficult to assign the responsibility that where things went wrong.
Right.
So for simple data models, it is straightforward. But these very sophisticated models which are there, whether it's going to be some long short-term memory models, whole lot of stuff is there, the recurring neural network, etc.
Yeah.
Where do we pin the blame? And all these models, even in the financial sector, when they deploy these models, there has to be an explainability. So if the model cannot be explained, you don't want to deploy that, right? But how are we going to stop some of these large organizations from getting undue
Access.
advantage? And
Yeah.
to the extent where, if something goes wrong, what are the consequences and whom to pin the blame on? That is what I see playing out, in near future. And that is where the people who understand legality and how laws have to be framed, who may not necessarily understand how the data models work, versus people who are very enthusiastic about building these sophisticated models, but do not understand or not so tuned in terms of what are the impact on the society, in terms of fairness, in terms of legality, etc. So they will have to start thinking about that. So that's my short
Right.
opening understanding of the discussion that we need to have in the society.
Right. I think very importantly, you've mentioned the balance that needs to be stricken. And when we started on the note that AI is a good servant, but a dangerous master. And somewhere the understanding of the opening statement takes us in that direction. Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar next, followed by Aarti ma'am. Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, before you go into your opening remarks, you also wanted to introduce Mr. Prateek, and then we'll just move on to.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly introduce Mr. Prateek Mohapatra. He's a seasoned professional with a rich and diverse.
I think we
I think we
lost
lost
the
your
sound.
mic. Yeah, we
Yeah,
couldn't.
we can't
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
you.
yeah. Apologies. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was just going to introduce Mr. Prateek Mohapatra. My apologies for before. So he's a seasoned professional with a rich and diverse background in the field of IT advisory services and business strategy. He's also the co-founder of Confluences Consulting LLP. Prateek sir plays a pivotal role in driving the company's growth and success with a strong focus on coaching, career counseling, and cloud computing. Prateek sir brings a unique blend of skills to the table.
Right, right.
Also, previously he was associated with the prestigious organizations of EY and ITC Infotech. He has he has a very good experience of 6 years in managerial roles. During his tenure as a senior manager at EY, he demonstrated exceptional expertise in cloud computing and hybrid cloud solutions.
Right. Thank you, Ananya, for that wonderful.
Thank you, Nishant. Thanks, Ananya.
Yeah.
I mean, it's humbling to be in the company of such stalwarts, and it's glad what I heard from Mr. Anand and Mr. Nitin. And thanks, Nitin, for the opportunity. Thanks, Nishant, for the opportunity for being in this group. I feel extremely humbled because I'm nowhere near to what others have achieved here, but I would like to pitch in from where Nitin sir just ended his address. See, basically, I was just playing around with the GPT-4 when it came out, because my journey started from being a developer to be a cloud practitioner, and now I founded my own company wherein I'm helping graduates from different colleges and even helping them get oriented into the industry, because industry itself is undergoing a major shift where people who are to remain relevant have to upscale, have to upgrade. But the point that I was trying to make is just by my curiosity and my urge for learning, I was trying the other day to try out what happens when you ask GPT what is going to be the forecast of a particular share price. Well, it very humbly said, no, it's beyond my realm. So what I'm trying to basically emphasize is we have to find the boundary, and this is where Nishank, when he had a discussion with me, I was also trying to emphasize the same point, that the fact of the matter of this particular forum is to draw a boundary of where the legalities start and where our boundaries end. So being a kind of the flag bearers of technology, we will have to extend this towards making it a more responsible forum, so that it adds and enables us and not becomes a bane.
Right.
People are
Right.
afraid of losing jobs and whatnot, but I
Right.
feel it's an opportunity.
Right.
People who will learn will obviously make many folds and make a lot of progress. So I think it's a wonderful forum to start
Absolutely.
this discussion. Thanks a lot,
Absolutely.
Nishan, for your
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Mr. Prateek. Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, I have kept you waiting for long, and ma'am, Aarti ma'am, we're just gonna come to you. But we have a bunch of loaded questions already, so you're not gonna go easy on anyone. And I'm already noting down whatever you're saying. So I hope we'll really, really felicitate this discussion. Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, please.
Thank you very much for inviting me once again, and being in such great company of speakers and panelists and audiences. So it's a great honor for me. Of course, I'm not only in fintech, so my platform is quite broad-based. So I'm in fintech, agri-tech, healthcare, as well as edtech. So I am trying to create digital knowledge empowerment for rural students and all that. And healthcare, of course, with all the AI, IoT devices and other things, so all those things, we have patented product and all. So, but coming to the basic context of this panel, what I feel and what I see, that human congregation and technology has been moving in tandem since day one. So when Homo sapiens, when we became Homo sapiens, we started shooting dart like arrows to spear fishes with wooden spears. That was the first technology that we adopted. From there, we have moved on because technology has always been an instrument for our own comfort level. So whatever we are trying to do in technology, it has to add to our comfort level and to our progression, not to regression. Now, when we have moved in community and in different organizations, these organizational setups have created importance of data. Those data are becoming meaningful. 10, 15 years back, I never knew that I had any worth or value. Even I'm sure other participants must have felt the same thing when all banks were losing data. We used to say, oh, okay, fine, chalega, things like that. But the use of data, the intelligence that has come out from this data, like business intelligence, human intelligence, medical intelligence, all the intelligence factors based on the analytics of data has changed the whole contour of our AI and our data management, as well as the storage, security, digital ethics, everything has changed. And when we talk of generative AI, it is replicative also, and it is additive also, and it is addictive also. So we have to really create boundaries, as Pratik said, that we have to create boundaries and see which boundary we should be retaining in our day-to-day transactions, in our daily lives, and which boundary should not be touched also. So AI is basically to complement and support us, not to be, we should not get guided. And as Pratik rightly said, that chat GPT has its own limitations. So ultimately, whatever we are going to create, we are going to master those things. We are going to lord those things. We have to give instructions because generative AI will give you 10, 15 options. Now you have to decide which is the right option. So every time the responsibility will always lie on you, not on the technology. So you are going to be in the box if there is anything wrong. Technology will not be any ways defaulted for its performance. We'll say, no, the human beings who were backing the technology, they are at fault. So with this, I will like to share this stage to others.
Right. Thank you so much for that remark. Sir, Aarti ma'am, replicative and imperative. Can we avoid AI? I don't think so. Your opening statement, please.
Yeah, thank you, Nishank, and thank you, Ananya. Thanks for creating this platform. I think it's amazing to see the kind of speakers you've been able to bring together. A lot of experience sharing is going to happen, I'm sure. I am not totally a fintech person, but yeah, I'm working with a lot of organizations to help them set their processes. And just, a couple of weeks back, I was discussing with my team as a part of our expansion plans, let's think of opening our first office internationally. And they said, give us just 2 days. They collected a lot of data. I don't know what all they did, a lot of surveys and all. And they came with the analysis which says UAE is the place where, UAE should be the first country for our office because the awareness in terms of standardization in the education sector is very, very low. That too, with regards to the standardization in the learning and development verticals as compared to the school and higher education. So I was wondering, how do you know all this? And they were able to show me all the data and the kind of analysis that they had done and the way AI had been used. They spent about 4 days to do this whole thing. So it's amazing to see how the whole, information system has completely changed. I had to speak at this platform today in the morning. So I was just wondering, that I'm going to have all kind of audiences, the youngsters and people of my age and maybe people older than me. So what should really I be talking about? So in the morning, I called up my dad. I said, what do you know about AI? What is AI? And he said, I don't know technically, but a couple of days back, I was trying to buy some shoes online. And since that day till now, though I have not bought my shoes, but AI has been showing me a lot of options. And I don't know why. I open my Facebook, I see an ad for shoes. I open my Twitter account, I'll see something related to shoes. So why everything is showing me all about shoes? Maybe this is AI. I said, okay, yeah, you're on the right track. And then today I asked my 17-year-old daughter, I said, what do you understand by AI? She said, that's going to be my future. So that's how all the generations are looking at this. And we all know, we all understand. I agree with Mr. Nitin when he mentioned about Mr. Murthy saying how data is important. I am myself a process auditor, and I've been using this Mr. Murthy's jargon very often. I always tell people, God will believe whatever you say, but an auditor will not. So we need data. We need data. Yeah. Without data, without evidences, nothing can happen. No decision making can happen. And how the whole systems have changed completely. Earlier, we were all using the passive machines, which are capable only of using the mechanical or the predetermined responses, right? Whereas now we are using sensors, we use digital data, we use remote inputs, we are combining all the information from a variety of sources, we are analyzing the data instantly, and we get the results. We know how on those insights we'll be able to act immediately. Right. So with these massive improvements, also in our storage systems, we never had the cloud computing and all that, right? We were always worried about those disks. I still remember, I think most of the speakers will be able to relate with this. We were always worried about how to store so much of data. So now that is not a problem at all anymore. We are not at all worried about the processing speeds. We are not worried about the analytic techniques that can be used. Yeah. So now we have much more sophisticated analysis and decision making happening. So AI can certainly create wonders for the society. I'm looking forward to more discussions with all of you on this.
Okay, I'll want Ananya to take over from here, but this is where now the session begins to heat up, because I hope we've all had our say, and we'll have quick and pointed questions after this. Ananya, you had a question, after which I think I'll take the floor. Please go.
Yeah, I think Aarti ma'am has wonderfully summarized, how in different ages and, different worlds that we are using AI, from, a 17-year-old girl to a 6-year-old man, or, how AI plays different roles in our daily lives. So yeah, very well articulated. So I have a very specific question for Mr. Anand here. I would like to ask him, sir, I was going through, the medical field, and, I was trying to frame questions for you. So, this one really intrigued me. So, my question to you would be, how has AI impacted medical diagnosis accuracy? To frame it better, what are the challenges in integrating AI algorithms into clinical decision-making processes?
Yeah, so as I told now, and all other experts told that gathering of the data is one of the most important thing to reduce the statistical significance of or standard deviation in the data. So as much as data you have, your standard deviation will be going down. So important is the data. And at this particular time, we are in US, and I think several other countries also working and gathering a lot of data related to different kind of diseases and diagnostic, and what kind of symptoms a person may express. Or even we are talking data, but I want to say one thing about the medical science, particularly the data is data, but the data is coming from thousands, I will say zillions of the places, starting from the gene to transcription factors. And I do not want to go in too much detail of the biology of the human being or any. So it's a start, not only the genes, genes are under the control of the promoters are under control of transcription factors and so many things. So each and every single thing decides the expression of a behavior or a disease of a particular human being. So saying that, so those are the more important challenges to gather all kind of data. But the important thing is that at superficial level, I will say, now it is doing a lot of good. I'll not say that it's 100% AI operated diagnostic can be done today, but the progress is quite good. But we need a lot of data. That's the important thing. Data, because it is artificial intelligence. It is not the biological intelligence.
Okay,
So
I'm glad.
biological intelligence, let me tell, biological intelligence has trillions and zillions of the data.
Yeah.
It is already imprinted through the evolution.
Yeah.
From the protozoa till mammals. Okay, so all data is gathered from protozoa to mammals, and zillions of the data. So if you want perfection, so you have to have those kind of data to really make perfect diagnosis or the treatment plan in the case of
absolutely
medical science.
Absolutely. No, I think this AI panel needs to be returned into an, redefined in terms of a data-driven panel. And since we are so much data-driven, I'll now open the floor for questions. I'll start with the kind of data, like Mr. Anand points out, Dr. Anand, that, the kind of data, the way you're gathering this data, the collection of data is very significant. And look at real numbers, okay? So, for example, a study by Deep Trace found out that there is a significant increase in deepfake videos over the years, with 96% of them being, adult censored content. However, researchers have also developed AI-based detection tools to identify and combat these deepfakes, right? Because then the clear question would be with respect to data that AI-generated deepfakes have raised concern about the kind of misinformation and its potential impact on society. So how do you think AI can be used to detect and combat these deep fake content while also, preserving the freedom of expression, trying to bring in the concept of a little bit of legality, because at the end of the day, it's the National Legal Summit. And anyone can take this question. I mean, Mr. Anand, if you want to comment, followed by...
So let me tell one thing. Actually, we are going too much, and I don't know about our audience, but the biggest fear, I will say, what is exactly what you told right now in the society related to the AI. And we have to understand one thing very clearly at the universe level I'm talking, okay? That this entire universe exists in the duality. If there is positive, there is negative, okay? It cannot be just positive, it cannot be negative. If there is imbalance, then the things expresses different way. So that applies on AI as well, okay? AI has a lot of positive things, and if you don't handle it properly, it is going to be very negative. Same as atom bomb, okay? The recent movie is going to be very hit. Oppenheimer, I'm going to see it tomorrow. It is already 3:13 a.m. here in San Diego, California right now. So saying that fear is in the society, and that is very, very, very important or very legitimate fear in the society, because AI is, as you told, there are a lot of fake videos coming. And in fact, when I'm talking to you, and I was just watching one video that a basketball player, very, very strong hero in the field, and I can put myself in the same game, basically. And I can make that video, and it will seem that Dr. Anand is playing that game at the place of that basketball player. So important is that first, how to control that. That's the question you asked. Okay, of course, AI is going to, because when you are making an AI for all these things, so it will be very easy to make a program to counter that AI also. It is not a big deal, okay, to counter anything when it is fake. There's always difference between fake and real, okay? Nobody can. I give another example to you, okay? And I always take the example from our Shastras and all places. So when Ravan was going to Sita ji, and he wanted to say that I already killed Rama, so he just put his head in front of Sita ji. Okay, but fake was fake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So important is that Sita ji, who is not, of course, she's very intelligent and has a lot of confidence inside her. She immediately understood. She did not buy that. Okay, that here is the Ram's head. Okay, she just smiled. So important is when we make the progress in the society, depending or related to any kind of science or technology. Same time, the human brain also advance themselves. I give a very simple example. I may not be understanding all the function of my cell phone, but if you see 2-year or 3-year-old kid, maybe at the airport or maybe train station, they may be playing with the cell phone like a toy, which beyond my image means I cannot play like that. Okay, so that's the advancement of the brain with the coming of the technology. So don't worry, the young generation is going to catch all these things very easily, whether it's fake or it is real. But important thing, certainly we have to make or we have to be a little careful, because and anyway, so nature always balances.
Right. No, there's a devil in a good. Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, you've opened your mic. It seems like you want to come in on this. How to combat the deep fake?
Yeah, I will like to say one thing, that for any fake detection and all, of course, Dr. Anand has given very, very illustrative details and explanation about it. But what I will just go to the basics, that we have to look at the data lineage, what is the source of that data, how you are collecting that data, and how you are using that data. So that data lineage, data relativity, and how quickly you are communicating with that data. All these factors will determine the, I should say, the reality of that data and effectiveness of that data. That is one part. Second is, I will fully endorse Dr. Anand's views that we have to be the ultimate adjudicator of things. So when we are seeing the result of our data, we have to decide whether this is right or wrong. And again, every younger generation is much more advanced than us and much more intelligent than us, because brain is also evolving with all the new technologies. So they are, brain and technology both are, I think, moving at the same pace. So no one is going to be behind the technology, run behind the technology, or will be left alone that, okay, what next? There will not be such a situation. So I think there will be ample scope to determine fakes on these basis.
Right. And I'm sure Mr. Nitin and Aarti ma'am would also like to pitch in. But I think before that, I think Ananya, you have a question for Mr. Nitin, followed by Aarti ma'am. Please, if you could.
Yeah, so today I'm like in, very excited child. I want to get answers of all my questions, because I see the panel is very diverse, and we have such experts here. So the question which came to my mind while I was researching was, so uh, since both Aarti ma'am and Nitin sir are involved in the field of training and in the educational sector, so I wanted to ask. So we have all these CVs here, and when companies are hiring, they go through the CVs and they try to find the right person for the job. Are there any chances that the entire HR team will be eliminated, and their job will be done by AI? AI will be the one to scan through all the CVs and try to find the right person for the right job.
Should I go first?
Yeah, Mr. Nitin, please.
Okay. So I think I'll, going back to the discussion that was happening earlier, building on what Dr. Anand was mentioning. One of the things that, I myself, did a little bit of formal training recently. And there are theoretical and non-theoretical models. So we have to understand that. So if there is a theoretical model where force is equal to mass into acceleration, and then you can build those things. But there are, in AI, there are a whole lot of non-theoretical models coming up. And non-theoretical model, let me just also build on top of that. Let's say there is a smartwatch, right? Now in this smartwatch, a company is collecting, how many hours I'm sleeping, how many steps I'm taking, etc. And what had happened a few years back, I think Apple Watch and one of the large insurance company had come together, and everybody who buys insurance, they get a watch. So now what they are doing is to understand, first let us understand what AI is and what it means to train. What it means to train is that if I have the data of, let's say, 10 million people, and I also get the data that these people of these age, they were at this stage diagnosed with diabetes, let's say. right? So then these non-theoretical models, it doesn't matter what is the biology beyond it, behind it. Purely statistically, they can see the pattern of other people who are yet not diagnosed with the diabetes, and then start marking them that there is a 95, because their pattern of the watch matches the pattern of the people who have got diabetes, and that is how the training and the test happens on
Right.
the AI part, right? So that is the
Right.
training part. Now, feeding into the question that you were asking, there are already organizations who are working on collecting data of people from the internet, what are their posts, etc. Try to see from their LinkedIn profile in terms of what is their how many companies they have hopped, and looking at these naive Bayesian statistics. Naive, the word naive over there, I realize, is that the data itself is naive about the theories behind it. All it says that if this is the pattern that it is matching, these people seem to be progressing more, and these people are not progressing more, regardless of what their childhood was, which college they went to, etc., etc.
Right.
And these models are, when you are saying that, will that happen? I think it is inevitable. It is inevitable. And again, we have to see that as becoming more and more efficient, right? So the other question is that it ties again to the fact that are people going to become unemployed? And I have a thought on that. The simple thought is any organization which at a particular time is not short of 30-40% resources, that means they have more ideas and less money to invest in new ideas, right? That is anyway doomed. So if you are anyway short of 30-40% resources, if you bring AI and some of your resources get freed, then you should employ it in all those other things that you were not able to do. And if you
Right.
didn't have those other things
Right.
for them to do, for which you didn't have money, you are doomed anyway. That is my so that is how I see this unemployment debate also. It is going to
Absolutely.
free those resources for better work that you want to do in the organization. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
And I
that's
think all our panelists have been, hitting the ball off the park, and we've been bowling slower ones also. I think it's time to, switch into Yorkers. Aati ma'am, we'll go to you. And this entire concept and, this debate is really important in the sense that, yes, we do need to talk about the jobs, right? For example, if you look at the World Economic Forum, the estimates suggest that by 2025, 85 million jobs may be displaced. And I'm only using data not to bore the audience, but since the panelists are so data driven, I had to present data. But 97 million new roles may emerge, which Mr. Nitin was talking about. Upskilling and reskilling the workforce will be crucial to bridge this gap. Since the panel believes that AI is obviously inevitable, do you believe that the integration of AI in the workplace raises real question about the future of jobs and upskilling? I mean, how exactly do you ensure this smooth transition? Because let us understand there are different parts of the world that we are dealing with, and we're dealing with different workforces at the same time, right? Is there a prospect of the kind of key skills that you're looking at in an AI-driven world, Miss Aati, please?
Yeah, Nishank. So definitely the required skills we're talking about the 21st century skills. We expect all the educational organizations to develop these new skills in the students. Even if you leave aside AI, still a computer engineer is no more just a computer engineer. He needs to have leadership skills. He needs to be creative, right? He needs to be very, very analytical, logical. I mean, you talk about the new age skills, and we need to have it. So the whole the recruitment ecosystem, the whole employment ecosystem has completely changed over a period of time, right? People view AI as a job killer, but I think this is one side of the coin. If you look at the stats, there are 75 million jobs which may disappear, of course, because of AI. But then at the same time, as Nishank, you rightly mentioned about the data, there are almost around 133 million jobs that have become more engaging. They have become less repetitive. What the work that we were doing over a period of time again and again, and the jobs were becoming very, very monotonous. I think that has been taken care of by the AI. The new roles are now expected to be created. A lot of organizations are already thinking of those job roles which never existed. In fact, today, whatever the students are learning in the college, probably they don't know what kind of job they are going to do. They may not be using their technical skill that they are learning in the classroom environment. They may be doing something altogether different. We are talking about the startup ecosystem, how this mindset is changing, because now people know that technology has given them that power where they can think out of the box. They can think about solving the real life problems of the society. So I don't think this is going to be a job killer. Rather, AI is going to create more opportunities for workers to focus on probably those parts of the jobs that may be more satisfying to them, that earlier they had not really thought of. And also another important aspect that I look at is that the AI also bridges the language device. There was a huge divide earlier, so somebody coming from one part of the world and working in another part of the world used to find it so difficult to adjust, to get accustomed to the new culture and the linguistic requirements of that country, which is now completely changed. The other day, I read a statement by the Microsoft education leader Sparwell. He says digital translation services are never perfect, right? But they offer a means of understanding which would otherwise not be possible. So AI is making this possible, whether it's teaching new languages in a personalized way or translating a speech or text in a real time. The AI-powered language tools, right from the Duolingo to Skype that are now working, they are completely bridging the social and cultural divides in our workplaces, in our classrooms, and in our everyday lives. So I think the workforce is going to gain a lot. There is no threat to it.
Absolutely. No, okay. So that is, I think that's absolutely well put. And like you said, there are two sides to a coin, all right. But since we're talking in this direction, we've talked about employment and workforce. Let's try and take it into the public sector, because let's not be, skeptical of the fact that it's very much being used for, like you pointed out in your initial example, ma'am, as to how exactly, I was looking at shoes and then an entire day it started showing me about shoes. And that is how it also affects our human behavior. So I think, Ananya, you have the next question with respect to, the human right implications that can come in. And we'll direct this to Mr. Sindhu, followed by Mr. Anand. Dr. Anand can again take it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
first, what I would like to say.
Dr. Sindhu, if you could like just finish the question, because I think
Sorry,
she wants to substantiate a little.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. The question that I wanted to ask you was about human rights. So, if I talk about my college, OP Jindal, so they have installed on their all of the gates facial recognition. So, when I want to enter my college gate, my face gets scanned and they know that it's me, that I'm a student of Jindal, and then I can enter. All these mass surveillance, facial recognition technologies, what are implications of these things on our human rights? They're all part of AI. Everywhere we go, even for customs, whenever we go abroad, they take our fingerprints, they have all the data with them. What about the usage of these things? What impact do they have on our human rights? How do we control it once given? I think my understanding of AI is to the aspect that, once any information is given to AI, you can never take it back from them. There's no way to delete it. So what do you have to say about that? So,
Well, that is why we are talking of digitization of all these identities and creating tokenization of these identities and putting them on blockchain. So once you have created self-sovereign identities of every person, you can use them for any purpose, be it clearing your immigration, be it buying your ticket, be it entering your movie halls, or be it even taking your exams. Everywhere your digital identities can work. Now, the basic issue is, where are you storing your data? That is going to create the problem. If it is stored on some open forum where there is no control, you don't know, it is moreover centralized also. They may call it open, but it is centralized. So they are using that data in their own fashion, in their own whims and fancies. So if you have a decentralized model of storing data, and if you are not doing like on chain or off chain, if you are keeping your data off chain, then you are more secure. So that means there is not hot storage of data. It is the cold storage of data with your own machines, equipments that will keep the control of your data with yourself, and you can use that data wherever it is required. And when you are using your data, there is some sort of incentive model by which you are incentivized to give your identities there. So no one can force you. That is why data has become so important, and interplay has become so important. And that is why we talk of having immutable security, and blockchain is one of the parts where you can excel. So when you talk of human rights and personal rights and privacy, all those things have to be controlled by way of secrecy of your data and storage of your data. Of course, now we have cloud data, multi-cloud data, we have embedded finance, we have Web3, creators economy. So there are so many things, so many types of data which are coming in, like different tributaries to a system, that it is very difficult to control all that. So like earlier we had a centralized system like data warehouses controlled by big agencies, big companies, organizations who were controlling it. That is why you were saying, okay, this data has been made public, and people have lost their privacy.
Right.
But okay, that is fine. But now we are trying to control all those things with these type of structures like data lake houses, open protocol, blockchain, and cloud security system is being made more secure.
Right. Right, sir. I think, Ananya, you have a follow-up, given that we have, chuckled a lot at the AI's memory and memory loss both. Ananya, you had a follow-up question to this.
Yeah, the aspect that I would like to know from you, sir, is that, since you're saying that, we can control it, we can, model it as per our understanding and use the data effectively. So recently, Google had launched a machine unlearning challenge. It's the first one to launch an unlearning challenge where they are inviting people to come and tell them how can they make a system unlearn the knowledge that it has already gathered and learned from various places. Like, if I put in my credentials in Google, how do I make it forget it? So, Google is the first one to start this. And, do you think there is a need for us to, ponder upon this aspect now? It has gone to the extent that, we are looking for ways for the machine to unlearn things.
Right. Like basically, how do we want AI to have the memory loss problem? Because we want to erase stuff here. Yes, Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, please, followed by Aarti ma'am and answer. Nitin sir,
Yeah,
you can come in after we're done with it. Yeah.
okay, I think memory loss is very difficult to say, because if you remember classical theory of Einstein, also relativity and all, that we just pass different stages, nothing disappears. So if we go back into time, we may meet our parents also, we may meet our dead friends also, because they exist in that old time. So I think when more and more data is coming, all those things will get buried in that whole burden of other data, and they will become irrelevant. That is how they will be no more in circulation. Otherwise, I don't think there is any way to stop anything, because everything remains in the system. And moreover, with blockchain and all, it is immutable. You cannot just fuzz it. You cannot destroy it until unless everyone wants to destroy it. But it is again a challenge whether data is like some in Google and all. There are so many advertisements that we will delete your data, unwanted data. We will do acid wash and all those things. But I don't think those really give you that solution.
Right. So basically, Dr. Anand, I'll go take this question up to you. Basically, how to cause the memory loss? Do we need to pull off another Avengers Endgame?
Okay, let me unmute myself. So that's actually the physical thing, and as Dr. Sindhu was telling, that is totally depends on the people who are storing their data. If they want to destroy, they can destroy very easily. Okay, and if they don't want to, because it totally depends on the physical entity. But I would like to, so those are possible, anybody can do. The person who is holding the money, can destroy his money, burn his money. Simple. Okay. Data or what data, doesn't matter. So important is that I would like to come back to the job loss and what will be the implication of AI for the future and all these things. There are a lot of scary stories are coming, but we have to understand one thing very clearly here, that everything in this physical world operates with the money. Okay, money comes from from somewhere. Who pays you money? The consumers. Okay, all the jobs going to AI, nobody has the job. To whom you are going to sell it? Because I don't have job, I don't have money to buy your AI technology. Okay, so how this AI is going to develop further? Because I'm not paying any money to anybody because I don't have job. So keep all AI with you. Nobody has money. So from where you are getting? Tell me the name of the biggest, richest person on this planet Earth. Okay, so that person is getting money because we are buying. We are the consumers. Okay, and now because of AI, suppose I'm just giving you an artificial scenario. All jobs going to AI. Who is creating that AI? A person. Okay, so a biological intelligence is creating the artificial intelligence. Consumers has to consume. Consumers has to have money. For money, you have to have the job. Okay.
Right.
And then you can buy those technologies. So there is always, that's what I told. These things are just brain. I use the term brain. I was talking with my very spiritual and also very big scientist actually. And he's in this panel and nobody is Dr. Mishra. Okay. And I was telling that why this kind of even discussions in the society any time point, basically, what is going to happen. When computer came, the same story. Then 2000, what was this? 2K, what is 2000 when the 1999 to 2000, you know? Yeah, YK2 or whatever, okay? The important one point is going to happen, which we were talking about the digitalization of all those things like digital entity and all these things. So that is going to be a very good direction actually. And I was thinking that, you know, the Vishwamitra story, okay? He did something in the jungle, he was praying and Menika came and everybody knew that he did something bad and his all power was stripped down basically by the society, okay? How it happened? In the jungle, he was alone. How people knew immediately? Okay. How it happened? Who communicated? So the intelligence of the environment at that particular time was so much that even if you are doing something is very isolation, the data was transferring to all those people immediately. So you cannot hide anything basically. So that was the Satyuga. When you have your force, now we are almost forced to speak truth every time. Most of the time, when we are talking to somebody, our brain immediately starts thinking, oh, I'm speaking this. Is it in digital media or not? Is my lie is going to be immediately recognized? Then we immediately control ourselves, okay? And speak the truth most of the time right now.
Right.
We don't forget the things now.
Right.
But see now, if it will be increasing more and more, there will be no chance for hiding anything. So you are very truthful. Whatever you are saying is truth, nothing but truth.
Right.
And that's what is Satyuga. If this definition of Satyuga, that everybody was speaking truth. Whatever you are saying, you are obeying or you are sticking to your words. That's what it is. And that's exactly what is going to happen with this advancement of the technologies.
Absolutely.
So everybody is going to speak truth. Whatever they are committing, they are going to do it. And so this society is going to be very truthful. And when the truth exists, okay, that's the peace of the society. The society, the universe, and everything operates because of the truth. Nothing operates because of the lies. Okay.
Right.
So truth holds entire universe. And that's what I was talking with Dr. Mishra. I would like to introduce Dr. Mishra. Where is he?
If he is on, I mean, definitely.
I would like to.
I hope he was there. I can't see him in the thing, or I would have just simply gone on to him. But
because
Definitely.
Because I just learn all these things and I discuss with him a lot of things.
Yeah.
So this is the beauty. So we don't need to worry because there is no chance that people will lose. Because if people lose job, they will not go to buy anything.
Right.
Even the food is, nobody's going to buy food because I don't have money to buy even the rice. Okay. So forget about AI.
Right, sir. No, definitely. And I like how the conversation is going from, Ramaya and Satyu to, I can see cloud computing in my future. And very positive outlook, Dr. Anand. Aarti ma'am, I'll take this up to you. A weapon of positivity or a weapon of mass destruction? What do you think AI is headed into? And we would have Mr. Prateek and Nitin also come in after this. Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, so saying that whether this is going to be a boon or a curse for the society is definitely very, very difficult. We all know that the positive impacts can't be undermined. AI can surely transform our lives for the better. But there are also chances that it can make things worse in our systems. And those chances would completely depend on three very, very important principles. The first one being ethics. Second, of course, transparency. And third is confidentiality. If these three can be maintained at all the levels, right from the government organizations, government departments to the private organizations, then of course, this is going to completely transform the whole community. There is no universally accepted prediction, Nishank, which can say whether what kind of future the AI is going to hold for all of us. But our generation would surely know if we have really been able to contribute to ensuring a transformation in the way the work now happens. So it would completely depend on the way AI is being used. I don't know how many of you have watched this recent web series on the OTT. I'm forgetting the name, where they've shown how you
The
through
social
AI,
dilemma. The social dilemma.
the social
Netflix.
dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has very well shown how the right use can be a creator and a wrong use can be a disruptor. You were asking, Ananya was asking a question a few minutes back, whether the data that is getting stored somewhere can really be deleted sometime. So, of course, that's not possible. It's not going to happen. But what can really happen is our government can have stricter laws to protect the data. A lot of countries, you must have heard of the GDPR regulations. There are several other regulations also in terms of data usage. So the user has to confirm, the user has to give the consent in writing that he agrees to his data being shared with a third party, or you don't agree. Since I'm dealing a lot with the educational organizations, I keep telling the universities a very basic thing, in order to use your own students' photographs, their data, your faculty's details on the social media for some marketing purposes, for promotion purposes, why don't you seek their consent?
Absolutely.
I mean, you just cannot use somebody's data without taking enough measures to protect that data. You can be in a big trouble tomorrow. So it all depends on us, how we maintain it, how we use AI, how we ensure that we are being as ethical as possible in the use of AI.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're absolutely talking about a kind of framework there. And ma'am, that's very well pointed out. But I think we'll next move on to Mr. Prateek Mahapatra. What I get from is this Aham Brahmasmi. I only create, I only destroy. I think Ananya has a question for you. And then we'll take it on, followed by Mr. Nitin and then Dr. Sindhu again, please. Just a second, Ananya, you weren't audible. If you could.
Yeah. So the question I have for Prateek sir is that since AI is increasingly becoming sophisticated, but the issue of bias I feel is still there. I went through few of the studies, and several studies have exposed biases in AI systems, such as facial recognition algorithm showing higher error rates for certain demographic groups. Research by the AI Now Institute highlights the importance of implementing rigorous testing and regulations to address these issues. So the question to you, sir, would be that, what can we do about the issues of bias? How can we ensure AI systems are fair and unbiased? And what role should regulation play in this process?
Right. I think this is also the European Commission proposal for regulation. I think this is a very important question she's asking. By the way, after Mr. Pratik, we also have Dr. Mishra back in again. And Dr. Anand was mentioning him quite a few times. So yes, that's it. We're on board. But yes, Mr. Pratik, please.
Yeah, I would like to keep my answer short because I'd like to hear more about from Mr. Mishra, because Anand sir kind of voted very heavily on him. I'd like to hear from him. But to answer you, Ananya, say for example, I'll just give the example which you are taking about an HR trying to find out a correct candidate, a candidature for that example. And I'll also give you another one post that. See, the fact is, I have been working on this on the IT on an IT background for last maybe 17 years, and in the last 8-9 years, I have been on a hiring spree, whether it was for my earlier organization or for E&Y, and now when I'm having my own organization, so now when I have my own firm, I am looking for people who I know, rather than going to the market, because I'll tell you what happened with my own experience. We used to get hundreds and thousands of profiles. Okay, now in that, to go through a profile, and I'll not comment on a particular geography, but yes, this comes from a particular geography in India, wherein this problem of a fake candidature and profile was a lot more as opposed to other places. But then we cannot be biased saying that that particular geography is bad and the other geographies have better candidates, which may be true. But just because we had experiences, we can't say that that particular geography is rotten. So what happens is, now when CVs come in, now resumes will be filtered. The AI part of it will govern whether or not you have done those things that you have mentioned in your resume. Absolutely. Whether or not you are telling facts. So the process of selection also becomes a process of elimination to begin with, so that our time is saved. Okay. Absolutely. Now imagine a prospective candidate. I talked to him for 20-30 minutes, and in order to do justice, I cannot judge anyone in 30 minutes. It has to be a 40 minutes plus, so that the person who is coming with at least a 4-5 years of experience or 6-7 years of experience, I can judge that person. Even in fact, I had the opportunity of interviewing candidates who are higher in experience than I am. So I have to do justice to that, and the time that I spend in interviewing candidates who resort to proxy, who resort to fake candidature, will be saved. So there are two things which, to answer you. Number one is AI, yes, can be used to have that kind of filtering process, so that the process of elimination is smoother, rather than wasting your time and everyone else's time.
Right. Absolutely. I think yeah. Please go on. I thought
the other thing, actually, there was one point that was being brought forward by Dr. Sindhu here on the panel also. That was when Nishant basically was talking about the jobs being taken away, and even I think Aarti ma'am was talking about it. So see, I'll tell you, in good old development practices, we use something in Agile. We use something called a pair programming. Okay. Now, what is a pair programming? A pair programming is two programmers doing the same thing at the same time, so that there's a maker checker, and both look at what is going on. All right. Now, I was in a summit, which is a Microsoft-based MS Build summit. That was, I think, a month ago. And there was also an AWS summit on the same. Now, where GPT is and the AI figment of it is coming in, is they are basically calling in the same pilot or the pair programming as a co-pilot. All right.
Okay.
Now, the co-pilot as a concept is just to make sure that you have a buddy, you have someone who is working along with you, so that the chances of you making a mistake is lesser. And
Yeah.
see, that human element of it cannot be taken away, that if you are you need a company to do better stuff, yes, that cannot be changed, but at least you have someone who can course correct you while you are on the job.
Absolutely.
So I would like to close my answer on only two things. That, Ananya, the question that you asked is more around how we can use this to our benefit to save time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Absolutely.
what I would like to comment.
Absolutely. That's increased efficiency for sure. And I'm glad we have Dr. Mishra also, because Dr. Anand was mentioning him. We'll come to you, Mr. Nitin Kapoor, followed by Aarti ma'am, and then Sindhu sir also. We have a bunch of questions lined up. But since we've been giving a lot of cricket analogy, and I'll pose this question to Dr. Mishra if he can hear us. In the game of AI development, how do we ensure that the goalkeeper of transparency and ethical practices stops any own goals by implementing robust measures that, protect user data and uphold fairness? Because that is what we've been talking about with respect to AI algorithms. Dr. Mishra, please.
Okay, this is not a question of self-goal. Rather, it is a question of surrendering ourselves to AI. That is the biggest concern for the humanity. Slowly, we are committing ourselves to control of the AI. Like if you go and this Mr. Pratik was telling that when he is screening for resume, AI help screen resume, but the AI have some certain criteria to screen those resumes. And if someone is not writing one's resume according to that AI's perception, that person will never get consideration. That is the one thing. But I am talking about that there will be some day when most of the jobs, decision-making jobs will be taken by AI, and that is the biggest concern for the humanity. And that should be addressed right now. Not the data collection. Data collection is small thing. Of course, data collection makes the streamlining of the decision making, but there will be some part of population which doesn't fit in that data, and for that part of population, human intelligence should be always needed. Of course, that would be a difficult decision. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. No, definitely. And I'm glad it is about surrendering and not own goal. And just an analogy there. But yeah, Ananya, I think I'd like you to take the floor on from there. And I think let's invite Mr. Nitin to, also.
Yeah, before that, I just had a question for Mr. Anand. Quickly, if you
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, actually, since we all went through COVID and it was really bad time, most of us got sick and we lost our loved ones. I quickly wanted to know.
Your mic is not working.
Ananya, I think we lost.
Yeah, just a second. Please go on.
Yes, sir. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes.
Yeah. So the question that I was asking you, since we just went through 2 years of COVID and the outbreak, and we've lost our loved ones, we had to sit back at home, and we all suffered. So the question that I was posing to you is there any chance that you can we can get to know about these outbreaks before? Since there were also claims that this COVID thing was made up in China. I don't know how true were they. But is there any chance that we can get to know about these outbreaks before, and we can handle them through AI or detect them? Yeah.
Yeah, so like Brahmasmi, like literally, like, can I predict the future? Is what she's basically asking.
Particularly for this any kind of disease breakout or the infection. This particular example is an infectious disease. Okay, it spreads through virus, and yes, it is very much can be predicted if suppose any lab from where or whatever place, maybe any market, any lab, any restaurant. Suppose if it is spreading from there, okay. So if we have some instrument installed in every lab or every single, I'm just talking very hypothetical, it is not present at this time point, okay? But I'm just giving an idea how to do it, okay? So if that is installed inside any restaurant or any lab or whatever places, as just you install that, so any accident which is happening there, it can be automatically detected, okay?
Right.
And as soon as that is detected, the rate of transmission of that particular entity or disease can be very much predicted because of the algorithm available. Those are not a big deal, okay, to know what should be the rate of the spread of this particular disease. So important is that particular instrument, and that also depends on a lot of AI data.
Right. Right, sir. Right.
That particularly, okay, this virus is coming, so now there's an instrument capture that and immediately inform that, okay, now it is going to spread this, the rate of its spread is this in the human being. So it can be very much controlled within a minute.
Right.
Okay. So that is possible, but right now it is not available.
Okay.
Yet it can be done.
Okay. I hope that definitely answered the question. We'll move on to Mr. Nitin, followed by Dr. Sindhu. Both of your comments on, whether AI is this weapon of mass destruction or the light of positivity as you're trying to delve into. And I have a question based on education as well. If Aarti ma'am, you could take it up later. But Mr. Nitin, for now.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that I wanted to comment on, though very clearly I want to state I'm not a Marxist, I don't like him at all. But that does not prevent me from quoting one of the things that I had read long time back, that the mode of production of material life conditions the social, political, and intellectual life. I'm just reading it. And it is, it is not the consciousness of men that determine their being, but on the contrary, their social being that determines their consciousness. And I'm not even sure if I fully agree with him. Perhaps it's a little bit on both sides. Now, this, I wanted to quote this in context of what is going to happen to our jobs, right? Now, we go back to the subsistence economy where we were barely able to gather enough food to get the number of calories. Now, today, if you see, no matter what you eat, you need some 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. Instead of thinking of jobs, the right way to look at it is in terms of productivity, right? So you only need X percentage of humanity to produce enough calories for the entire this thing. And whatever is the amount of labor that you require, why do we think that everybody has to work for 40 years, right? Maybe you can work for 10, 15 years. And in any case, the productivity is going to become so high. That is what it is going to be about AI. The productivity is going to be so high that everybody doesn't need to work. And that is where there has to be a shift in the consciousness in terms of how we think of employment and how we will engage ourselves and keep ourselves busy, right? So if we can produce enough food for not even just 7 billion, but 8 billion, 9 billion.
Right.
Why do we worry? So that was one part of the comment. The second part, one of the things that we were discussing about the data. So there, typically when we are working in industry like Infosys, etc., we're talking of credit card data, etc. We talk of personally identifiable data versus aggregate data. Now, what would happen is that the personally identified data, if you know that some company has it, then clearly the legal framework has to address that. If somebody says that please delete my data, they will have to delete the data. But whatever part of the data has been processed and is kept as an aggregate, like in the averages, what are the average salary of that? So that may not directly impact that individual, right? So again, there is a distinction, and to the extent that personally identifiable data and the action on that, people need to be prevented, organizations. I think that can be handled by legal means, and the companies should be able to do that, right? So these were some of the two things. The other thing I wanted to mention, I've given a link over there, and this is for Sehmati. Now, this is another framework being developed by Nandan Elikeni and some of the people who have been involved in Aadhaar and UPI, etc. Now, what Nandan says is that, India, unlike in the West, the Indians are going to be data rich before they are financially rich. And this Sehmati is going to provide this framework where every individual will have access to their data in terms of what taxes they have filed, what is their bank account, how much is the revenue coming, small people in terms of what is the money that is coming through sales. And that can then be sold, or that can then be shared with others to raise, let's say loan or for any other. So people will have their own, the control over their data. and new frameworks like Sehmati, are being developed, and they will be the response to the privacy,
Absolutely.
issues.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm really glad that you brought it up because it's really relevant in terms of the data protection bill as well, which the parliament tried to bring in. It was initially, brought in with certain changes, but it eventually got tabled as Dr. Sasmit Patra, member of parliament, would have it. Ananya, I would like you to also go on with introducing Mr. Mahapatra again, Dr. Pradosh Kumar Mahapatra, please. I think he's a part of the panel, and we see him coming in and going.
Yeah. I would just quickly introduce Mr. Pradosh Kumar Mahapatra. Mr. Pradosh Kumar Mahapatra is a distinguished expert in the banking sector. He has a remarkable 37-year-long career in the banking sector. He started in his journey in 1978 with the Federal Bank. His leadership and vision extended beyond traditional banking as he ventured into the world of non-banking financial companies, NBFCs. Mr. Mohapatra served as the CEO of FedBank Financial Services Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Federal Bank. Under his guidance, the company underwent a successful revival program and obtained the NBFC license in 2010.
Right.
We would like
that's
his inputs on
yeah.
this
If
subject.
Mr. Mahapatra can come in at any time, and we'll keep the panel discussion moving because I mean 37 years of experience. It's really great that you pointed it out, and I think there's too much. Even if we combine our ages, I don't think the experience matches the individual experience of any of the panelists. But okay, since we're talking about education a lot, and I think Dr. Mishra rightly pointed out as to how we surrendering to AI, and my question will be to you, Aarti ma'am, and followed by which Dr. Sindhu and Anand, Dr. Anand can also come in. In what ways can AI-powered virtual tutors and chatbots revolutionize the learning experience, providing instant support and guidance to students beyond classroom hours? Like if I take, for example, Jill Watson, okay? For those who don't know, it's an AI chatbot that was developed by Georgia Tech, which is designed to assist students in an online course. Now, the chatbot has trained so much on vast amount of course material that it almost provides prompt and accurate answers to almost everything. So it seems like it's so seamless that and like efficiency or saving time, which Mr. Pratik was saying, it is so efficient that student don't even realize that she is an AI chatbot. Where do you think we are headed into this educational department? Aarti ma'am, please.
Yeah, you're so right. AI is certainly being used in the education sector in various ways, right? From the help from the chatbots who provide 24/7 student support. And then you also have the personalized learning algorithms, right? Which adapt to each student's needs. And in the education sector, what is very important to note is that the students have diverse learning abilities, right? You have all types of learners. You have the visual learners, you have the kinesthetic learners, you have the auditory learners. So keeping in mind the needs of all types of learners and to make learning more accessible to them, AI is certainly playing a big role. The AI-powered tools are also being used to automate the administrative tasks, not just the education. For example, grading of the assignments, for example, providing feedback. And then you have the large amounts of data to identify patterns and insights that can inform the development of maybe new educational strategies and policies. Because also now with the introduction of the new education policy, which is going to offer multiple exit and entry options, which is going to make education more experiential, more skill-based, more industry-oriented. So AI is going to become all the more important because the educators have to constantly keep working on, identifying newer strategies which cater to the needs of all types of learners. There are, I think, n number of examples of the successful AI-powered educational tools and platforms which are currently in use. The teachers are very happy. Sometimes, the educators feel that the AI-powered tools may replace the human interaction and they may also affect the classroom teaching quality. But ensuring that the AI is used in a way that complements rather than it replaces, I think the human educators will become more important in the coming years.
Right.
And it has certainly the potential to revolutionize the way we think about education, right? From personalized learning algorithms to virtual and augmented reality, as Mr. Nitin also mentioned. all these AI powered tools and technologies, they are going to help to enhance the learning experience. That is, I think, the most important thing for the students. We had never thought in that in these different ways, this can all ever be made possible. But this is also coming with a lot of adverse impacts. The other day I was talking to some of the university faculty, and they said that in the assessments, the answers that the students write, we see that they are coming directly from ChatGPT, and the worst part is that it's difficult to identify plagiarism. Yeah. Because the data is coming from multiple sources. So you don't know. From Google, it's very easy. You put it and you get it, how much plagiarism is there. So it has got a lot of adverse impacts also, but the positives can't surely not be undermined.
Right. No, as a student, I feel Turnitin is especially my enemy, because every time I try to craft an assignment using AI, Turnitin says that this percentage of AI has been deducted. Ananya, you had a follow-up, after which we'll go to Pradosh Kumar Mohapatra for his statements, and we'll move on to the concluding the panel, because we've gathered certain agenda points from our discussion. And let's close in on the solutions that we think can be proposed as to navigating the challenges in the different fields, and see what the concluding remarks of each of the panelists are and their key takeaways are. Anna, please, with the follow.
Yeah, from Aarti ma'am's speech, I could gather, the Khan Academy example, I really remember, how she was talking about AI-powered adaptive learning technology. So yeah, Khan Academy would be a very good example of that. Also, I completely agree with you on the Turnitin thing, because, every time I try to take anything from Google, it just tells me. Now, I think there's a new update also in Turnitin, which says that you have taken it from ChatGPT. So it's just not Google now. We cannot take things from ChatGPT also. So ma'am, quickly, I had a follow-up question for you. What I've noticed on ChatGPT is that, it at times gives you wrong information as well. So talking about particularly the legal field, so if you try and search any of the particular judgments,
right,
it gives you the wrong facts, the wrong ratio. So you cannot clearly rely on these softwares, I think. Also, what would be your comment on that? Because, I think not only students, but teachers are also relying on ChatGPT to get information. How reliable is it in the educational sector?
Right. Like, basically, what is the call to action for this?
Yeah,
Definitely. Ma'am, please.
Yeah, to answer that, I would say that yes, teachers are definitely relying on it, especially for research. Earlier, for the research work, they used to do a lot of work and spend months and months together to finish one research paper. And now you see within a few minutes, the abstract can be made ready, and the research paper takes another couple of days, and then it can be immediately published in an international journal. So research has surely become very, very simple and easy. But then at the same time, yeah, you are right, some of the data may be wrong also. Although the other day somebody was sharing with me from an international journal that most of the new age research papers have 100% accuracy. I was really surprised to hear that. Maybe, you need something else above AI to detect what is going wrong with AI. So the future, what the future holds for all of us, I think we can't even predict. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Right.
But yeah, by analyzing the large amount of data very quickly, by uncovering the new discoveries, and by generating the hypothesis and conducting literature reviews much faster than the traditional methods, the ChatGPT has really started assisting the researchers in writing their papers everywhere, not only in India. I have a friend in Portugal who writes a lot, and she told me she's been depending on ChatGPT completely for the last 3-4 months to write all her research papers. So it's important to note that these capabilities must be used in conjunction with the human intelligence. And as AI and ChatGPT can only provide suggestions and support, so the final decision and the final responsibility of all the results that the researchers have, they still depend on the researchers. So it's important that, as I mentioned earlier also, the 3 very important principles of using AI in the right manner. The first one being your ethics, your confidentiality, ensure
Right. Right.
That's the only answer to it.
Right. And ma'am, I think we need to have a separate discussion someday on how you can evade ChatGPT to write my assignments better. I mean, I have not been caught yet, and not that I use ChatGPT.
I can tell you right away that personally, I think for the GPT, as Ms. Khosla told, that I don't see any bad in that, to getting the information using that, but you have to, because it's just okay. You cut the wood using your hand or you cut with the automated saw, it doesn't matter. You cut the wood, okay? But the important thing that when you are gathering the information, you have to put your spice inside that your own things. So to making the thing quicker, those are things. But we have to understand this is at very juvenile stage. The chat GDP or whatever, the AI still is very juvenile stage. So there has to be a lot of corrections in that, okay? And a lot of progress has to be made in that. So it is not perfect, it is just starting. So we must expect a lot of mistakes there. And that is very normal. But it's a good effort. And that's what I was talking with Dr. Mishra about that. Again, I'll tell him that we talk a lot because he's in San Diego. California. Then he was telling me that yes, it's very good, it's fascinating, and we must utilize. I think today, if teachers or other people are not allowing, okay, you are taking from ChatGPT or whatever, but tomorrow everybody is forced to accept it. But again, it can never beat the human being. Right. That's so simple. Whatever we talk, it cannot. And and the Science is one of the biggest scientific journal. Everybody must be knowing the Science, and the scientific community decided that nobody can review the scientific article using the AI. So scientific articles has to be reviewed by the real people, not by the AI, because that may really misguide the results of, or misinterpret the results of the findings. So it is already blocked there.
Absolutely.
One part of it.
I hope this thing happens before my graduation, that the acceptance comes in.
You can use it.
I would like to, Nishant, I would like to quickly add one point to this.
Yeah.
As Dr. Anand very rightly said, it's about doing a smart work, right? We all remember the story of that crow who had to put stones to get the water. And now you have these smarter crows who can get a straw, put it in the pot and drink the water, right? But at the same time, does the crow know how to quench the thirst? I think that's very important. So even if students are copying from ChatGPT or whichever AI tools, I think the very important thing is, what does the industry want? Am I really able to develop those right skills? A lot of times we have seen during the campus placements, the companies are there to hire the best talents. The kind of assessments they would give to them, the students do fairly well. But the time they sit in front of the recruiters to answer their questions, they fail. The reason is when they're writing, they're copying from somewhere.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
The skill is what really matters.
Right. No, all jokes apart, I mean, yeah. So okay. All right. No, all jokes apart, I think it's very important to understand it from a skill tech perspective as well. And we have Pradosh Kumar Mahapatra. So we have two more questions. One to Pradosh Kumar Mahapatra and then Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar. And they're specific to their respective fields, after which we'll be taking concluding statements from all our panelists. And Ananya, please go forward with your question.
Yeah, so Pradosh sir, I had a question for you related to the banking sector. So my question to you would be, AI has emerged as a game changer in the banking industry, no doubts about that. It has offered numerous opportunities, streamlined operations, enhanced customer experiences, and improved even decision making. But there have been a lot of frauds also. We hear about through Instagram, the lot of frauds happening in the banking sector. How can banks harness the power of AI to optimize these processes, like personalized services, mitigating risk, and even ensuring data privacy? So what would be your comment on that?
Well, I'm not really exposed to the use of AI. Ever since I left the bank, and now I'm in the role of a different function altogether. So I don't know the technicalities involved.
IT team of the bank must be working how to prevent occurrence of such kind of interference into the system, and what kind of filter they have, what kind of protection they are following. I think they will be able to answer. Very honestly speaking, I cannot answer this question very, very accurately. So I pass it on to someone else.
Right, I think everyone's being too humble on the panel, saying that I can, and then they make a very good comment on it also, and then they say, I mean, the other person knows better. I see Mr. Nitin raising their hand. Mr. Nitin, a very short comment because we wanted to move on to Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar and then take in the closing
No,
comments.
I
Thank you.
think there was a on anything specific or some
Yeah.
things that I had. See, on the banking side, again, as far as going back to the earlier this thing, you have this data and you look at that data to, let's say, figure out the financial viability or the whether somebody is loan worthy or not. So these are all statistical models to assess the risk, or the fact that there's certain transaction that has happened, looking at the previous transactions which were fraudulent. How does it map to that, and can you tick it out that okay, there is 90% chance that this is a fraudulent this thing, or can you check it out that okay, there is 90% probability that this person should be given a loan, right? So those are the kind of models that are coming up. The more data you have, the more refined those data becomes, and it goes back to the statistical process control, where you're trying to reduce the spread of the statistical deviation in terms of what you are doing, and center the mean, as it is called, right? Coming to the other part in terms of research, like the topic that we see, the baseline is getting raised. So something that even a computer can do, that is not required for you to do. That's the way we have to see. Research by its very definition is something which is pushing the boundary and the frontiers. So it is something new. So what ChatGPT would have is whatever it has digested about all the other. So let's say referencing will become very easy. Right. Earlier, even the very start of the internet protocol and the World Wide Web was to link all these documents. So when you press a link, it will take you to the related document, right? So those things are becoming easier, but research has to be new. So the very idea that it should not have been done by anybody else, it cannot be in ChatGPT, right? And I think the final, comment that I want to say in the next 30 seconds is that the real worry and the real fantasy of future is the super intelligence, which means that we have created a machine that can create a machine better than the machine we have made, and then it will become a this thing. So that whether it will happen or not, that is the thing. Can those machines create better machines and better algorithms than what we humans have made? Then it is going to be a runaway thing, and that is a fantasy at this point. We never know, things happen, and that is the scary part. Most other things, I guess, are this thing.
No, I have a point here.
Yeah.
I mean, what I do recall, and till such time, all the banks, they have a firewall, which generally they have to protect the customer identity, secrecy, etc. All that is fine. And to add a layer to that, they have introduced the two-factor authentication. Hopefully, it is not going to be three-factor. After two-factor, a customer convenience remains. Once it becomes lengthy, the ease of operation will come to an end. So therefore, two-factor authentication is working very well, and the occurrence of bank frauds have reduced to a great extent by using the some manual methods like that. But how much AI has been integrated into the banking system, I think it is too early to say. Maybe some people who are in the field, in those departments, they will be able to answer the level of integration that has already happened.
Right, absolutely. No, I think that's very well put in, with even with respect to Dr. Sindhu, I'm just coming to you, and I'm coming to you with a question also. I think probably the last Yorker we have for this session. I want you to answer it even in the aspect of fintech. Okay, fintech has seen a rise in peer-to-peer lending platforms. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology have disrupted traditional finance. And, fintech companies often rely on vast amounts of user data, something that Mr. Mahapatra is also talking about, to provide personalized financial services. Now, how do we exactly strike a balance between leveraging customer data to improve offerings while ensuring data privacy and security are maintained? Dr. Sindhu, please.
Okay, let me just take care of a couple of propositions and assumptions that we have been discussing till now. about banking and secrecy and how it can be used, AI in banking. Because I'm also basically a banker and I have established one neobank in India and I'm already launching another neobank next month. So we have been using all these AI technologies, and as Mr. Mahapatra was saying, talking about two-factor authentication. So we have gone as far as to three-factor authentication. So you have biometrics, thumb biometrics, facial scan, and then voice protocol. Voice protocol has been accepted by RBI, so we are launching in our neo bank that voice protocol also, so as to avoid different types of frauds that can happen in spite of all these two-factor authentication, because we keep on getting fake OTP numbers, someone calling you asking for OTP number. Even I was fooled by one of those calls and I lost 10,000, but so that was a learning lesson, in spite of the fact that I'm a banker and I'm implementing all those things. Then the second most important factor is that whatever we are talking about, all these AI, generative AI, artificial intelligence, synthetic intelligence, we are still, our society is still very, very fragmented. And these talks are just at the elitist level. At the normal level, this technology is not even reaching. Of course, with some digital banking facilities, we are going to different areas. So that is what we are trying to do, take all these technologies, but you have to train them, teach them, because there is a cultural fear against technology also. So you have to make people rid themselves of the mental tech blocks. So that is what we are trying to do with our education. Now, when we are talking about school and colleges and AI, we have developed one meta campus, which is a fully functional financial meta campus. So we call it meta enterprise. Nothing, because whatever technology we may keep on talking and deliberating about it, if it is not backed by utility, it will fail in due course. So if it is taking care of the utilitarian needs of the population, the technology will prosper. You can see what we were talking about, cryptos, okay, cryptos, profiteering, government against those things came down. Then came NFTs, big hype, again came down. Metaverse, big hype, again came down. We are talking of Web3, creators economy, again. So it is varied sphere, but it is not backed by real utility. So that is why technology is also not able to gain grounds. But yes, in discussion panels, in our thought process, technology is getting bigger, louder and louder, but it is not getting translated into real utilities for the vast number of masses. That is the most important thing. And lastly, again, in the banking parameter, I explained that how we are trying to do it. If you see BranchX, we launched it 2 years back. And without any publicity or anything, right now we have about 7.2 million customer base, only because of its utility value. It is taking care of migrant communities from rural areas to urban areas. So we are creating a real model of financial inclusion there and banking the unbanked. So since it is backed by utilities, it is moving without even your publicities. The second one, which I'm launching, it is catering now to MSMEs, farmers, and it has different functions which banks do not give right now. Besides all those bill payments, insurance bill payments, and telephone bill payments, we are also including now health service facility, educational facilities as part of services from the bank, because everything has become a service, software as a service, hardware as a service. So in AI also, all the new technologies are service, and that is where revenue comes in, and that is where we try to collect numbers, and that is where the primacy of data over any other thing.
Right. Dr. Sindhu, a quick follow-up, because you're talking about the overall utility. It is everywhere true, whether it's law or, AI. Maximizing overall utility leads to unforeseen negative consequences also for certain groups and ecosystem, because it may not account for certain complexities of real world scenarios. Do you think in the systems that we are trying to create and that the ones you're mentioning, how do we incorporate every ecosystem within this subset of the idea of utilitarian theories?
No, the biggest point is that nothing works in this nature in isolation. Everything is connected to one another. So that is why we talk of ecosystem. So when you create an ecosystem of different utilities, different activities, and different functions, you will create a very, very organic, respiring, breathing whole that is going to take care of all your functionalities and all your needs. And that is where the AI should work and create that sort of breathing and respiring model which can take care of all your needs.
Right.
We are just worried about privacy. 15 years back, who cared about privacy? What was our respect? Nothing. Now only because of AI, we are talking about all those things.
Okay.
We are all human beings. Every human being is okay. Men are there, women are there. So that's the basic thing. We may have different dresses, we may have different hairstyles, all that, but basically we are one. So why there is like so much of focus on identity only? We
Right.
have to see how much we are able to deliver. And AI is just processing the speed and creating new facts for you by the
Right.
processing speed, nothing else. Now quantum comes, your again computational speed goes very high. All these talks will again get a spin, and we will come with new jargons, new technologies, and new ideas. So I think everything is going to evolve in due course, but utilitarian value and the real human connect of AI will be again
Right. Right.
remaining there and will be
Right.
pronounced.
Right. Right. Absolutely, sir. I think from the perspective of privacy and also as law, the Puttaswamy judgment puts it, Article 21 now incorporates the right to privacy as a fundamental aspect. But if anyone wants to quicken, quickly on this as to, whether we're not concerned about privacy so much. Why are we so much concerned about privacy today and it has become so identity driven? If that someone wants to take in, or we'll simply move on to the concluding remarks. They'll be held by Anand. Thank you.
I think the regulatory approach says that in bank, the privacy and identity of the person should be protected, and it is the prime duty of the banker. So that cannot be. It is a regulatory aspect. I do not know how much it is connected with the constitutional framework, how much it is connected with the banking as a whole. But surely, how much of money I have, how many accounts I have, it is my fundamental right to maintain or preserve my privacy onto that aspect. And just to add to Dr. Sindhu, he talked about some aspects. I will say that besides the artificial intelligence part of it, the existing software-driven system is capable enough to throw some MIS about how many times an account is clicked for knowing the data, and it is from how many attempts have been made from the unregistered telephone number, mobile number. Those things also the system can throw some data. So by aggregating those data, some manual intervention is possible, and every bank, they have a surveillance system where they keep a tab on the fraudulent activities, what is happening, and how much AI can add to that, and what capability of AI to be independent of such actions which is already prevailing in the banks. That I think it is for the time to come, we'll see, and how much effective it is. That's it.
I'll just add a short point to Dr. Mohapatra, if you allow me.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll just
yeah.
take a quick point from Dr. Bhaskar, and then we'll
So,
move to the concluding remarks.
So in our lending management system, what we have added that the borrower, how many times he is like every month he's making the repayment of his installment. So we are making AI and analytics on the basis of the denomination of currency that he is putting in, because we are working in tier 3, 4, 5 centers. So it is not bank check and all that. So like if he has to deposit $100, so whether he is depositing 100 rupee bill or 10 into 10 or 20 into 5 or 15 to 2, like that. So if supposing he is putting in 10 into 10, 20 into 5 generally, and one time he comes with 100 into 1, then that we flag it that how come his income level has gone up so high. So we start investigating that and asking them that, okay, what is the additional occupation and income source that you have? So this is one of the things that we have added in our this neo banking protocol.
That's fine. That's fine. It's all emerging scenarios.
Yeah, I think Mr. Nitin had a quick point. I think he was trying to say something before Mr. Bhaskar pointed out.
No, I think,
So do you have...
yeah, I think, a little bit more needs to be understood about how this large amount of data is, processed. I'll give you an example. This is a 20-year-old, example. Tesco's is a large, retail chain in the UK, right? They're here or not. Now, Tesco at that point, this was a joke. I'm not joking. This is the joke in this thing, that they knew before the parents that their 16-year-old daughter was pregnant by the shopping patterns that they have, and they would start, sending them the kind of coupons for other this thing, and in some cases even before the person herself knew, by the products they were, something which might look innocuous, something to eat itself, right? So that is the power of AI. Please understand. And here it is not about the individual. The way to extend this understanding in the financial world is that the data is being processed through advanced algorithms, and you start seeing that people with this pattern are likely to default. And therein comes the ethical question that somebody who has not defaulted, if they seem to fit that pattern, should you or should you not extend loan to them? Right, and that is where you start crossing the boundaries of ethics and legality as to how much that data is there and how you, because some of the straightforward things, again, these are just algorithms. We don't call them AI, right? But it is when you start looking at that, you start getting that insight where you can see the needle in the hay, right? And those are the boundary conditions where these questions have to be raised. So I thought I'll just point that out in terms of how that data is being analyzed.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you so much, sir. That was really insightful. Now we'll start taking the
I will add one thing
sorry,
very
sir,
interesting. What he
yes,
told
please
that
go ahead.
there was a movie. There was a movie, and it was a terrorist act actually done by somebody, and the police was and detectives were searching who has done, and they found one lady was not having Google and all these things, and they started suspecting why she does not have Google or account or email and this and that, and they captured her, interviewed her. And she's telling, I have nothing to do with this. But they were not ready to understand, and they were not ready to even accept that she did not do. And just because she did not have the social media account. Okay. So this is very extreme example what I'm telling, but it's a very interesting movie. So saying that, I don't want to take much time. It is already 4:34 a.m. here in San Diego. I have to go and sleep a little bit. Okay.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much.
Saying that because we talked about banking, and the most important thing is the legal system, the use of AI on the legal system, that judgment and making the case and documenting and the review or all these things can be done with AI. That is also very important. But what we are doing in the medical science, actually, particularly related to the stem cell science, and so as you already mentioned that I own that GeoStar and Celebration Life Sciences, which then particularly with the Celebration Life Sciences, we are collaborating with a Japanese company called Meditech. So stem cells basically, in general, just I want to introduce that stem cell is the master cell of the body. So our entire body is made of stem cells. And that's what the AI is very important at this time point for us, and entire human being, basically, because so stem cell is the master cell, entire body is made of stem cell, body is nothing but the different organs. So if any organ is damaged, you can repair using the stem cells. So basically, if somebody's liver is damaged, you can repair that. You do not need to go for liver transplant. You can just take the stem cells and repair that liver. But we are developing the AI system which can really 3D printing type things in the lab to make a liver or kidney. Okay, and that's what you need AI, because you need perfection there. So it's the computer integrated with AI. So it can make perfect system, and it can be like heart, you need a heart or liver or skin or eyes, anything, and you make in the lab. That's what we are working right now, using the AI system to make an organ so we can transplant a lab-made organ to a human being. So we don't need to worry about matching our organ or getting the organ from somebody else. So we can solve this kind of diseases within the AI. So that's what we are working with Dr. Mishra and I, working together for these things.
Can I just
yeah.
I'm slowly sir, please, if you were saying something else.
No, that's what I wanted to, because I just forgot.
No, but I am slowly, and I'm gonna mute other speakers as well, because anyone would just come in here. I'm slowly seeing a pattern as to how I'm getting to learn about the work of everyone. Because Dr. Sindhu talked about the bank, and now I get to know more about GeoStar. And normally I would have said that, let's focus on the topic, but I am so interested. I was so intrigued, and so was she. We actually want to know. I'm sure after the panel, we are actually going to look it up as to how exactly these things are happening. Whether it was Mr. Mohapatra who was talking about, how things go on with the banking sector, or even Nitin sir and Aarti ma'am specializing in the education and their respective management sectors. And I just ask everybody to please give their concluding remarks, and Anya would take it forward from here. But what were your key takeaways? Something that you would want in a solution-driven paper, something that goes out to the ministry, and something that can be incorporated in the data protection bill that actually helps the cause of AI. And you can all speak from your own perspectives, and we'll go in the round robin format this time, because it's already 4:30. Let's just stick to the format that we started with, if you don't mind. So Dr. Anand, if you have a concluding remark, and Ananya, please take this conversation forward after this. Sir, you are on mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's this another kind of AI. So no, this is wonderful talking and meeting such wonderful, extraordinary people today. And particularly, again, I feel so happy, and I will say I'm at the level of surprise, basically, seeing you personally and Ananya, and conducting the questions, very intelligent questions. I never expected these questions. Like, I don't know from where you frame these kind of questions and such diverse questions. And certainly you took the help of ChatGPT. What is that?
We used AI to counter AI,
I'm just kidding. Don't worry. Because I can never frame such kind of questions. So this is wonderful. And then I think this is going to help a lot, and particularly for saving the data, which everybody told is very important to protect the personalized data, particularly like banking data or health data. Okay, that is two very important things, the health data and personalized banking data, because these two things actually, if it is leaked out, then basically a person's everything is out. And nowadays, because of this, so much economies or financials or progress of a human being depends on that. So it must be very well protected. That's what I would suggest. Other things are okay, and we are meeting the people also. So all other people are here, they can comment. But I really thanks from bottom of my heart. I enjoyed, basically, I didn't feel any sleepy. Though it is 4:40 a.m. right now here.
Oh, that's the biggest credibility we've built at this summit. I'm glad we've managed to keep the CEO and founder of Geostar Awake throughout this. But it was excellent listening to you. And please, Rania, if
Yeah, like I would just quickly summarize Sir's point, and then we would move forward. And thank you so much again. I'm very sorry to keep you awake at this time, and we promise you that in the next edition, the timings we'll keep in the mind the timings there, and
yeah, so
we'll
I
plan
think
it accordingly.
so. I think we'll keep it
I
in the night
enjoyed it,
for.
Ananya. I enjoyed it. I have a lot of energy right now because seeing these people so energetic. So I
Right.
feel so happy.
No, we'll keep it in the night for Indian people, sir, and so that you guys have it in the morning and it's fair. Like barabar ho jayega.
It's okay.
Yes.
We'll have dinner together once I'm in India. Don't worry.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, just summarizing it quickly, as Sir pointed out that the two aspects that we should really ensure that are kept private in our lives are the banking and the medical sector. The information related to that, because that those two things are really personal. I would not know. I would never want any else. Any other person to know about how much money do I have, and what amount of money is there in my bank, or what problems am I facing in related to my health. So
Right.
these two aspects would be really important, and we would mention them, and emphasize upon them in our paper, surely, sir.
I'm going to add today one very interesting thing. We know in India we say that that money is gone so nothing, and then But important thing today, I'm going to say that health is wealth, wealth is health. Okay, so both has to be protected by.
Right. Definitely. And now, interesting key takeaways. Please, next speaker, if you would.
Yeah. Now let's move forward to Aati ma'am. Ma'am, could we have your key takeaways?
Yeah, Ananya and Nishank, thank you so much for this platform. I think it was amazing. And as Dr. Anand said, I would fully agree with him. We thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, I had already told Ananya I had something very, very urgent at 4:30 and I had to drop, but I stayed till the end and I dropped rather the other thing. I messaged them. So thank you so much for this platform. And my last words would be for the all the organizations, irrespective of whichever sector we are, irrespective of the scale of the organization or the growth of the organization. We need to create the right kind of frameworks and models to use AI. If we know the maturity level of the kind of AI that we are using, and we will be able to mitigate all the risks that are related to the use of AI, I think we can create a wonderful future for the coming generations. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm glad we've talked about the past, the present, and the future. And ma'am, thank you. I like the fact how everyone's like congratulating us. And yeah, definitely NLS 2.0 is turning out to be a big success, but it's nothing without your association, like I pointed it out before. But yeah, I think interesting insights, to be very honest, especially in the education field, ma'am. I was actually thoroughly observing your statements, and I feel that whenever it came to education, you had a very firm standpoint of view, and I'm glad you've got to learn a lot. And I'm going to approach Dr. Anand after this as to how to escape Chat GPT for writing my assignments, because he said it on the panel live and we're recording. So yes, definitely. Thank you for that. We'll move on to Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar for his concluding remarks and his key suggestions.
Well, again, I will also like to thank all of you and for such invigorating discussions and interesting time. My suggestion and my input will be that as Government of India is trying to push Indian rupees in global market, trying to have uniform identities with Aadhaar card and all. So similarly, we should have the mechanism of tokenizing our identities so that we can protect them, we can have our privacy, and at the same time, we'll be able to share it with others seamlessly in a very, very digital manner. Thank you.
Right, I think you really kept it really concise and very. You sir, you're very punctual also, and I think every time I've told you to, keep it concise, you've actually kept it concise. I'm really, really thankful for that also, and it's excellent to even know about the fintech side. And there are obviously there can be disagreements about whether how we're looking at privacy in different perspectives, whether today or we're talking about yesterday. And as Dr. Anand would say it, in Satyug. Or during the time of Ram. But yeah, I think absolutely the points have been well illustrated and well made. Dr. Anand, you have your mic on again. Do you have a comment to make, or should we move on to our next speaker for our concluding remarks?
I want to really listen Dr. Mishra's comment because
Okay.
I always enjoy listening his
Okay.
opinion, And
Absolutely.
fortunately, he's in this panel right now. Generally, he doesn't like to speak a lot, but his wisdom is beyond means excellence, I can say.
So we're fortunate this time.
Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on to Mr. Nitin Kapoor, and then we'll have Dr. Mishra come in with his concluding remarks. And anything with respect to football analogies are more than welcome, because I think we had a good discussion how it was whether a own goal or not. Mr. Nitin Kapoor, please.
Yeah, I think, one thing in terms of what the government needs to do, I'll focus on that, right? One is to make it the individual ownership very tight, watertight, even time bound. So it has to be very explicitly authorized by someone, and it is time bound that, okay, even if I have authorized it for the next 2 years, and after that it will default. The other idea, one of the things that we need to understand is that data being the new oil or being the new asset, how do we monetize for our own good as a nation? And there is one thing which you folks in the legal thing you need to. I just read it somewhere. I'm not sure how accurate it is. Like in the UK, Roger Federer is taxed on his worldwide income, because they say that your worldwide income, even if you are Swiss, national, and you are doing endorsement for a American company, part of that is because you play Wimbledon. So we will tax that, and that is the way we need to look at the companies, the larger companies out of US, that they have so much data from India. Even if they are selling that intelligence to somebody else, and that transaction is happening outside of India, what percentage of their global income is coming from the data that they have from India, let's say? And those things we need to tax that, and we need to make sure that our data remains inside the national boundary. That is number one. And anybody who's profiting from that data, even if legally, they have to pay tax on that. So that's one idea. I don't know if I made that clear, that if a US company is earning from some other company, but that data has a footprint in India, then they need to be taxed on that. So that is the other idea that I would like to see reaching the Indian government.
Okay, taxation of data, that is really an
or taxation of money, that is monetization of data.
Okay.
And outside of India, the companies outside India, they are selling it to some other company outside of India. But if that data transaction happened in India, so they are profiting from it, right?
Okay.
So how do we monetize that? Because we are 1.4 billion people, so there's a lot more data going to come out of India. Even a general data about the humanity, human patterns, etc., right, of their spending or whatever, right? So why should we not be able to tax it and get money out of it? That's one other idea that I want.
Right, absolutely. No, thank you so much, sir. And Mr. Nitin was also there beforehand, so that's another kudos. I highlighted it for Dr. Sindhu. It would be unfair to not do it for Mr. Nitin. But also the way the taxation of this works around is something that maybe we can explore in the future, because what kind of data we are losing on also depends on whether you could tax that kind of data or not. Are we talking about?
Well, it comes down to framing of laws. That's where you legal folks like UK says that it is Roger Federer who is a Swiss national, and Nike or whoever is an American company. So what has UK got to do? But UK says your popularity depends on having played in Wimbledon. That is part of it. So certain part of it is because of the work done in UK. So that's the way it has to be framed.
Absolutely. A very strong remark in that sense. Also, something maybe we could take up in the research paper competition tomorrow. And Dr. Mishra, because Dr. Anand has insisted, and we would really love to hear your concluding remarks. If you could bring in a soccer analogy, like just brownie points for all of us. Sir, just a second, I'll ask you to unmute. Yes, Dr. Mishra.
So, yeah, I was telling that artificial intelligence has made life so easy that in this present world, we can support almost 8 billion people. That won't be possible without the artificial intelligence. We should not be that afraid in that area. And only thing that, as Mr. Kapoor was telling, that if artificial intelligence keeps on taking up the work, it will produce all the necessities for human beings, and then problems come. Then two problems come. So there are one problem would be people will be left with so much time. What they will do in that time, and people are not think. They will do some creative thing that could be positive, and quite likely that could be a negative. Another thing that I told in my previous mark that artificial intelligence will take over the human being, and that would be most scary. And of course, people smart like Elon Musk are concerned about that. So we have to keep that part in mind all the time.
Absolutely. I think two very interesting insights, especially the last one on, human intelligence and artificial intelligence. We had a lot to comment on that throughout the panel. I think everyone made consistent remarks on that. And really, Dr. Mishra, thank you so much for joining us and taking out the time. I know it's been very sleepy around there. And let me be very fair, I am also pretty tired. So we're going to quickly move on to our concluding remarks for other speakers as well. Mr. Pratik and Mr. Pradosh, if you have concluding remarks, please just we'll keep it short and concise, and then we'll end this panel.
I'd like to thank the opportunity. Thank you so much, Nishank. I think it was a great experience talking to all the entire panel and being in the midst of the people who I think I aspire to become some of them. So yeah, it was a great opportunity. Thanks for the opportunity for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just would like to get introduced to Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar. He's a fellow banker. Just would like to know a little more about him.
Most welcome, sir. Anytime.
I think I can, if you guys don't mind, then I'll exchange the contacts. And
yeah. And right now I'm in India, and when I'm
Okay.
back to US, then I'll be meeting Dr. Anand because I keep visiting Stanford, so I'll be meeting you there, sir.
Excellent. You are most welcome in San Diego. It's such a beautiful place. You will
Yeah,
enjoy.
yeah.
We'll enjoy together.
Sure.
But important, I am worried about Nishank, and because he's tired and he really deserves a good dinner today.
No,
I'll give him. I'll give him. I'm in Delhi, so I can come see him.
Yeah, Ananya and Nishank both has a lot of good credit today. You don't need to do your, I think, assignments now. It is already done.
So, I also really admire the energy and the involvement and aspiration of these two youngsters, Nishank and Ananya, the way they have organized and have run through the whole of the day and done it really well. My compliments.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. I think, to be very honest, like I've gotten a little bit used to it because Jindal keeps using me for all of this. But for my
Keep
course,
using you.
Yeah, that's the word.
Good.
That's the word.
Okay.
But I'll not sugarcoat it anyways. But yeah, I think for Ananya to come here and co-host this and the way she's been contributing, whether it's in terms of the speakers that have been brought on board or whether it's the kind of knowledge that has been brought in. I'm very glad that sir, you felt it was very well organized. And Aarti ma'am, I heard you missed something else for this. I hope it was worthwhile. I'm sure. I mean, I'm pretty much sure that it was. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We would just ask you to check out our sponsors because it's important and I have to say it as it is. And whether you're joining us from India, US, any other nation in the world, we would ask you to check out their respective profiles. We put them in the chat and also in the WhatsApp group that you all are a part of. If any other attendee has any question, please just, bring it in the chat box right now. We'll close this session. Yeah, this is Nayaro's link. Please do check it out. It's a clothing brand and we really managed to go from this end of the era to that end of the era, from legal justice and systems to clothing. Sanjay Padya, I see you opening your mic. Do you want to thank us as well or we'll close it?
बोलना चाह रहे हैं
अच्छा
बस
अच्छा
इसके ऊपर विशेष कोई ज्ञान नहीं है, लेकिन जो है हमारे परंपरागत तरीके से ईशो उपनिषद में कहा गया है कि ज्ञान का साधना करने से व्यक्ति अज्ञान का साधना करने से व्यक्ति अंधकार की तरफ चला जाता है, और ज्ञान का साधना करने से व्यक्ति गहरे अंधकार की तरफ चला जाता है। तो यह संतुलन बनाया गया है जीवन में, और मनु संहिता में माने महायंत्रों का प्रयोग हमेशा वर्जित किया गया है। और जो है जिस प्रकार से अभी डॉक्टर आनंद जी ने कहा कि पुष्पक विमान जो था, तो भरद्वाज ऋषि जो कृत यंत्र सर्वेक्षण ग्रंथ है, उसमें वैमानिकी शास्त्र में पुष्पक विमान और यांत्रिक विमान सबके बारे में विशेष वर्णन किया गया है। तो पुष्पक विमान ये था कि मंत्रों द्वारा संचालित होता था। तो है क्या कि व्यक्ति अगर मान लीजिए विद्वता के उस शिखर पे पहुंच जाता है जहां मानवता क्षीण होने लगती है, उस स्थिति में जिस प्रकार जिसे हम लोग आज कैलकुलेटर का प्रयोग करते हैं तो हाथ से गणना करने की क्षमता हमारी चली गई। इसलिए आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का जो प्रयोग आज हो रहा है, तो इससे मानवता की क्षति हो सकती है। लेकिन मैं ये नहीं कहता कि आप आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का प्रयोग न करें, क्यों कि अगर इसका प्रयोग आप नहीं करते हैं तो आप विकास की गति में पीछे हो जाते हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, नहीं नहीं नहीं, हाँ बिल्कुल आप।
तो इसलिए क्या है, हमारे जो ऋषि मुनि थे, उन्होंने हमेशा ज्ञान का और विज्ञान का हमेशा संतुलन बना के रखा। इसलिए कहा गया है कि अज्ञान की साधना करने से व्यक्ति अंधकार की तरफ चला जाता है, और ज्ञान की साधना करने से व्यक्ति गहरे अंधकार की तरफ चला जाता है।
बिल्कुल। और आई थिंक संजय जी, जिस हिसाब से आप बोल भी रहे हैं ना, आपके पीछे से एक ऐसे सनरेज वाली लाइट आ रही है, और ऐसे ऐसे लग रहा है ना, आप जो आधुनिक बातें कर रहे हैं, इट फील्स लाइक अ मैसेंजर ऑफ अ गॉड काइंड ऑफ थिंग, यू नो, दैट समवन हु इज स्पीकिंग राइट फ्रॉम द whims of the the divine. Thank you so much, Sanjay ji. Your contribution initially in the first panel was amazing, and I'm very glad that we hosted this, and we have the National Research Paper Championship tomorrow with teams joining us from India and abroad, virtually obviously. And yeah, we look forward to tomorrow's session. I'd like to thank everyone for joining this session today. I'd especially like to thank Santosh Kumar Upadhyay, Sanjay Upadhyay, Shweta Mohindra, Vivek Mohindra, and all other speakers, and especially my co-host for being and bearing with me throughout all of this. All the bad jokes aside, I hope you really enjoyed this session today. Thank you so much for joining.
Okay.
We'll give a minute to all the panelists if they want to post in their
about them, or somewhere we could
if they want to connect with each other, yeah, they can exchange their
Right.
numbers.
Anand sir, since you wrote my spelling, I am Nishank with a double H, and that is something you can take it up with my father, because I think it's a Sanskrit wala naam, and he says, yeah, thank you so much, Ayush, you've written it correctly.
Okay, good.
Yes, thank you so much, Anand sir. It is amazing. I am sure it was so much difficult, and it was just all the way from across, and everyone who's just chimed in. We'll close the meeting in a minute.
It's good. Okay, so good evening and good night for everybody, and good morning for me.
Yeah, good morning to you, and
good morning, Anand sir.
Have a nice weekend to everyone.
all to US panelists, good morning, and thank you for staying.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great meeting you all.